What's going on, everyone? Chris here with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal, and today is basically just doing some errands. We've been pretty busy this last week or so, and today we have nothing going on, so we're just going over our marketing plan for the summer and kind of setting everything up to follow us through the rest of the year. I like to go over this every couple of months just to make sure that I'm doing what I was told I was going to be doing and sticking to it. So I thought, why not go over the main ways to market for anyone who's new here? Maybe you just started a business or you're thinking of it, or you just wanted to go ahead and amp things up for the summer, because that's typically the busiest time for us as a junk removal business, especially because it is moving season, and moving and junk removal kind of go hand in hand. So I want to go ahead and break into some of the main ways, a couple of creative ways, which I'll shoot a video of a little bit later. By the way, all of my shirts are in the washing machine, so you're having to deal with the tank top and my paleness. As you can see, I don't really wear anything other than the t-shirts the majority of the time, being that we are in South Florida. So you're going to see a lot of tan lines. But getting right into this, I went ahead and wrote it all down so it's easy and I can make it quick without getting all jumbled up and over talking, because I know how much you guys love that. So the main ways that I like to market, especially when you're newer, is number one, handing out cards and flyers is a great way to get your business name out there. Even if people don't call you, you're exposing your business to the public. So going by local businesses, the reason I like local businesses, especially restaurants and office buildings, is eventually they're going to have an accumulation of trash one way or another, especially around inventory weeks. I know in retail places, when inventory comes, they're having to go through the back warehouse and go through all the boxes and make sure everything is out on the shelves, which usually leads to an overflow of trash that their compactor or the dumpsters are meant to handle, and it happens every now and then. And I know from working in restaurants, that's something that also happens every now and then. We would purge everything in the restaurant and throw away what they don't need to get ready for the winter, because that's when restaurant season is. So that's when they're kind of preparing for stuff. So local businesses. Realtor offices, a huge source for junk removal is realtors. So go by your local realtor offices, introduce yourself, ask to leave some cards behind for the realtors. Storage units. Try your best to talk to a manager. Ask if you can leave some cards behind to give to any of their clients who maybe need a unit cleaned out or need something removed, or maybe they're closing up their unit to move finally and they need to get rid of whatever they don't want to take. Apartment buildings. Go by apartment buildings, talk to the property management or the maintenance manager, and let them know, like, hey, we can remove excessive dumpster trash. We can clean out any apartments you have an eviction for. If any of your residency junk removal, here's our cards, pass our information out. Senior living facilities. I've been talking about this my last couple of videos because I've been very busy with them the last couple of months. Senior living facilities are great because there's no time of year that they specifically need us. So it's kind of like an ongoing source. Typically, you'll go there if the building itself needs to get rid of something, somebody passes away and you need to clean out the unit, or somebody relocates to a different unit. They typically don't take everything with them, so they leave everything behind. The next thing would be property management offices. You might have to email them. Otherwise, go by property management offices. These are the guys who will basically run other people's properties when they're out of town. Let's say they live up north and they just have a bunch of rental properties in your area. This may vary a little bit depending on what state you're in. It's a little bit more active in busier places like Florida, or busy places in North Carolina or Texas, California, and New York. If you live out like in Tennessee, it may not be as widely populated enough to where you have rental properties ran by people who don't actually live there, but always a source to consider. And donation centers, especially depending on how busy your area is, there's a good chance your donation centers probably go through a lot of trash that people just drop off and they end up never selling it. A lot of places have the means of handling it and they get discounts for dumping it off, and people work with them. But if not, that may be a source you can pick up, especially if it's like a local thrift store. And the next thing is going to be yard signs, which I have a link in the description. If you want to sign up for a local business, they do free shipping. They are very affordable and they price match if you're able to find anyone cheaper. So check that out. But yard signs, first, check with your city to make sure it's allowed. It's not allowed in every place. There's a difference between it's frowned upon and, hey, we'll write you a $250 fine for every sign we find in the streets. Big difference. So make sure you're checking into that. But if allowed, they are a great source for getting public exposure consistently, much like Google Ads does. So intersections, gas stations, busy streets, busy plazas, try to get the entrances and exits, home improvement stores, hardware stores, furniture stores. I used to put them out by like Bed Bath and Beyond or that furniture mattress place or like IKEA or Bed Bath and Beyond. I think I mentioned that, but Mattress Firm is what I was thinking of. Anywhere that deals with furniture, basically, and thrift stores. Thrift stores is a good one. I used to put them out by Goodwills all the time. I get calls from people who go to bring stuff to Goodwill and they say, I don't want that. Like, we can't take it right now. And like they don't have any other means of getting rid of it, so they end up eventually having to call us. The next thing is emails. So not everything can be done in person. Sometimes you just have to email people. So like I mentioned with property management, sometimes you can't go by their offices, so you have to actually email them directly. I would email them basically explaining your business, the fact that you're local, you work with realtors and other places like them already, and you're looking to work with them specifically, and then do a follow-up in 2 weeks if they haven't heard from you, and then from there email them like every month. Try emailing your city's waste management or your local city, like your city hall, and just see if there's anything that you can do as a local business to kind of help get your name out there. Realtors, email them directly, go on their social medias and message them directly. It's a great way to interact with them specifically in the event they never see your cards, or maybe that realtor office at the time wasn't accepting your cards. Professional organizers. I did this a long time ago, and since then I've worked with 3 organizers. One of them I've been doing continuous work for since I met her. And when I say continuous work, I mean she's probably brought me in over $10,000 worth of jobs. Plus her husband's a realtor and her daughter's a realtor, and I've done work for them multiple times. And they've connected me to other people who do property management, and I've done jobs through them. So you never know who you email that may end up being a great client that can last you years. Next up, restoration companies. Restoration companies are those who go by and basically clean up after you have a house fire or mold or water damage. And typically, whatever got damaged in that process is going to get chucked out. And a lot of times, they'll have a box truck they can handle a certain amount. But if it's a lot, they may want a third party to kind of help them out. So that's where you would come in. I would definitely go for the more local route, though. Try not to do the franchises. They're usually already kind of locked in with somebody. And house cleaners. House cleaners, I think, is something that people overlook a lot. But a lot of house cleaners, not so much like they'll need you for their job, but they can pass your information off to them, because a lot of people will get house cleaning done before or after they just moved somewhere. So they may want you to clean up anything they don't want to take, or maybe they just moved in, they decide that they want to get rid of a bunch of stuff, or maybe they're moving into somewhere where somebody left stuff behind and it's a shit show, and they want you to clean it up, or they want you to remove all the stuff, so that way they can have cleaners come in professionally and clean up the whole place. So don't forget your house cleaners. And then the next thing is social media. I personally think Facebook and Nextdoor are the 2 best sources. I think Instagram is more for show. LinkedIn is good for connecting with other professionals and businesses, but Facebook and Nextdoor I think are the most likely to get you business. And then you have SEO, so you can be able to run Google and results and kind of get your name out there. There's paid, and then there's organic. I'm going to go the organic route because I don't like paying for anything. But if you're going to pay, you could go for like ads, or you could have someone adjust your SEO for you and basically promote your business online. Otherwise, organic would be constant posting on everything you possibly can. Make sure you're tagging your website and everything, so that way you can draw traffic to your website. Make sure your website has good SEO keywords that are very advantageous for junk removal. So when people are Googling for junk pickup or couch pickup, your website is likely to rank higher on the results without having to pay for it. And then the next thing is truck branding. Yeah, adjust my tripod here, my little box. Truck branding. I used to preach about this quite often. I haven't been doing it too much lately, but that is ghost routes. So a ghost route is essentially when you are just driving aimlessly around the city. Maybe you sit out in front of a busy plaza or a busy gas station, and the idea is that as you're driving around and people see your truck, they stop and take a picture because they may just need junk removal. So it's one of those things where having a mobile billboard is one of the best things you can do for constant public exposure. And then, of course, you can do overnight parking. Maybe you do truck rentals, or you just have the availability to have a second trailer or truck with you. Go park it out by a Home Depot or a Lowe's or a gas station and leave it there for the whole day or even overnight. I would get permission first to make sure you can leave it overnight. Sometimes you have to pay. Sometimes they just say, yeah, you can do it, but just make sure you're not, blocking anything specifically, or that, you kind of move around so you're not just always there. And then a couple of creative ones, I've done these in the past, is I'll go to places like Home Depot or Walmart or Lowe's, and when you go to the aisle that has storage and moving supplies, I leave a couple of my business cards like on the shelf next to the tape rolls or sitting on top of the boxes. So when they go to pull the boxes out, my card's there. Or over by the supplies like the markers and the labels and trash bags, stuff like that. I'll just kind of leave my cards planted around. And the last thing for creative is libraries. This is something I thought of doing a long time ago because I am a average regular person going to the library to pick out movies and books because I don't like buying them and I don't like renting them online when you can get them for free and just return it, and then you don't have clutter in your house. So it's great all around. But libraries, if you pick out a book that has to do with decluttering, minimalism, cleaning, moving, or just junk removal in general, put your card in between the pages. Don't overload the book and make it look stupid, but I would put like one card per book, usually in the beginning, just in case they don't make it all the way through the book, and like use it as like a bookmark that was left there before. And I'll show you a clip. I actually just did that today because I just picked up some more books. But that's something that I would do maybe like five-ish books, and then every time I go to a library, I would do it again to a new set of books. And I got a call from somebody once actually from it, and I was super excited because I didn't think it would actually work. But I got a call from them and I ended up just picking up a small desk. So sometimes it's a small creative things that don't take too much time that actually end up bringing you in results. So that is it for marketing for me, at least. There are plenty of other ways to do it, but these are the main ones I think that everyone should be doing when you're first starting off to really help get your name out there. And then from that point on, it is up to you to do a good job, be fair with your pricing, and make sure that you are treating the customer with respect and that you are fulfilling the promises you are giving as a business so that they want to use you again. The idea is that you leave the customer with a positive enough outlook on you that they want to refer you to other people. Not so much like, oh, my friend is going to be moving. Do you have any recommendations? You could say, yeah, I use these guys. They were good. Here you go. You want to be so positive that they just go tell people on their own, right? They'll put a post up and says, hey, I just used clutter reduction junk removal to help my mom clean out her senior living facility because, as you know, we're moving to an intensive care. Just want to say that we called them. They were punctual. They were very responsive. They were on top of everything. Communication. They came in. They banged it all out super fast. It was super stress-free. I just wanted to put their business out there for anyone of my friends or family in the area that need junk removal. Call these guys. Yes, that just happened last week. But something like that where people are willing to talk for you, I think is a great goal that you should always be striving for. So that is it for marketing. As mentioned, the Yard Signs link is in the description. And everything else, business cards and flyers, if you're new to it, you can use Vistaprint, you can use UZ Marketing. Those are the two main places. You can go by your local shops and see if you can get a little bit of a better deal maybe. But for the most part, flyers and business cards are pretty much going to be your main source of marketing. You can also look for vendor positions. I didn't include that in this list as I normally do because it is a little trickier. And usually if you're first starting off, your insurance may not be the best, or you may not even have insurance, which depending on where you live is okay. But that's why I didn't include the vendor spot because it confuses people sometimes. So if you're interested about the vendor, I think I've mentioned it in other videos before, so you can just type in vendor and I'm sure it'll pop up in one of my titles. But that is it for me. Hopefully these tips are helpful for you guys, and I will see you next week. We have a busy week coming ahead of us, so I will see you then.